Yesterday we had finished about some of the, you can say, pouches or some of the races in connection with the female pelvic organ cavity. Now in the female pelvic cavity we had finished retrouterine pouch. Retrouterine pouch is also called as what? That of the pouch of Douglas, the one which will be present in between, the uterus and the rectum. That is, even it is called as uterorectic or rectouterine pouch. Now, after getting formed from the entire formation of the that of the pararectal pouch on either side of the rectum in case of the female, it will be going to run all the way, just you can say upwards, and then to cover the entire, you can say, length and the breadth of that of the, you can say, fallopian tube, and then it surpasses over the water that of the fibreated end of the fallopian tube, covers the water that of the ovaries. Then it will be going to get reflect backwards and little, you can say, upwards, even laterally to gets attaches to lateral wall of the true pelvic cavity, where it will be going to give rise to the two pouches, one above the ovary and one below the ovary, to that of the mesovarian ligament, which is said to be as a superior ovarian fossa and inferior ovarian fossa, and as well as this ovary is present in the ovarian fossa itself. Then you will be going to have the above the fallopian tube and the below the fallopian tube. There are the two small pouches are left. They are called as the superior salpingeal pouch and the inferior salpingeal pouch. Then this will be going to run further, as you know, on the fundus part and as well as the anterior part of the uterus, where it will be going to run on the anterior part of the that of the cervix of the uterus. After covering the anterior part of the body of the cervix, it will be going to run, you can say, forwards, and then covers the posterior portion of the that of the urinary bladders, where it will be able to form one more pouch. That pouch is called as a retrovesical pouch. After forming that retrovesical pouch, it will be going to run all the way posterior surface or the base of the urinary bladder, and then it covers the pelvic part of the ureter and runs over the superior surface of the urinary bladder, where it completes that retrovesical pouch, and then it will be going to run on the you can say, downwards all along the anterior border of that of the urinary bladder. Then it will be going to run on the that of the little, you can say, forwards and upwards to lie in the that of the retropubic space, where it will be going to form the retropubic pouch in the retropubic space, and then this pouch is called as a retropubic space. So you will be going to have, in the other yesterday we had finished about the that of the 17th or 18th, or I hope it is the 17th pararectal pouch, and then 18th will be the that of the, you can say, pouch of Douglas, or the retrouterine pouch or uterorectic pouch. Then you will be going to have on either side of that of the, you can say, uterus, that will be the 19th. Now that 19th is called as a totally, when it will be going to run on the lateral aspect of the cervix part of the uterus, it will be going to run laterally and gets attaches to that of the lateral wall of the true pelvic cavity, where it will be going to form as the para uterine pouch, or rather you can say it as a vesical, not rather it is a vesical, that is called as a cervical pouch, para cervical pouch. then you will be going to have the water on either side of the water, that of the, you can say, vesicle, you will be having, that is the 20th, that 20th will be the water, that of the, you can say, paravesical pouch, both in male and in the female, same as that of the, what is your, you can say, rectum, pararectal pouch in both. So you will be going to have the water 21st, this is the what number for the water, that of the pouch. Then you will be going to have the water 22nd, what you will be going to have, that is what is said to be as a retropubic pouch. That retropubic pouch is the pouch present in the water retropubic space. But whereas in case of the water, that of the female, you will be having the water, that of the retrovesical pouch, pouch between the water, that of the urinary bladder and the water, that of the rectum, that is called as retrovesical pouch, in case of male. But before forming that, it will be going to have one more pouch, the pouch between the water, that of the, you can say, rectum and the seminal vesicle, that is called as the water retroseminal vesicular pouch. Then on either side of the water, that of the, you can say, vesicle, so you will be going to have the water seminal vesicular pouch, those are the water 24th pouch. Then you will be going to have the water on either side of the water, that of the prostate, paraprostatic pouches, right and left. Then you will be going to have the water, that of the remaining thing, paravesical pouch and the retrovesical pouch, they are same as that of the water in case of the female. So these are all the pouches. The meaning of that, of the importance of these pouches, as and when there will be a what excess of that of the, you can say, fluid is collected in the process of the what any of the diseases, either for the organ or for the water, that of the peritoneum, visceral, fire traveling from the water, that of the parietal, that to water from the external thing, if any injuries are there. So due to that inflammatory process, if any, you can say, excess amount of fluid is collected, that will be going to collect in the water, these pockets. So this is an importance of that thing. So after having had the pouch, now you have to have the water, that of the histology of the water, that of the, where you can say, before going for the what histology, you have to go to the water blood supply. Blood supply for the water, that of the parietal part of the peritoneum is by the water bodily segmented arteries. Venous drainage of the water, that of the, you can say, parietal part of the peritoneum is by the corresponding bodily segmented veins. Then the lymphatic drainage of the water, that of the, you can say, total, that is the parietal part of the pleura is by the bodily segmented group of lymph vessels and the lymph nodes. Then you will be going to have the water nerve supply for the water parietal part of the water, that of the peritoneum is by the bodily segmented nerves. So those are called as subcostal, ilioinguinal, iliohypogastric. So like that way it will be going as together. Now you will be going to have a visceral part of the peritoneum. Blood supply is the water, that of the corresponding the blood supply for that each organs, what it will be there and where it will be covering, that will be the water blood supply for the water, that of the visceral part of the peritoneum. It will differ from one phase to the another phase. Then you will be going to have the water, that of the venous drainage of the water, that of the visceral part of the peritoneum is also by corresponding lymphatic, corresponding venous drainage of those particular organs where this visceral part is covered. Then you will be going to have the water lymphatic drainage of the water, that of the visceral part of the water, that of the peritoneum is also by same the lymphatic drainage of that of the particular organ where that is covered by, or it is taken the cover by that of the visceral part of the peritoneum. In respect to that, there will be a lymphatic drainage. And the nerve supply for the water, that of the, you can say, visceral part of the peritoneum is totally by the water sympathetic and the water, that of the parasympathetic. Sympathetic is by the water, that of the bodily segmented, and then parasympathetic is by the water, that of the vagus. Now this you will be going to have a different, you can say, plexus are there at the different level of that of the organ where that organ is taking a covering made by that visceral part of the peritoneum, that is corresponding plexus made by the what that of the sympathetic and the parasympathetic or autonomic. That will be the what nerve supply for the visceral part of the peritoneum. After having had this, now what is the you can say histology? Histology of the what parietal part of the peritoneum is totally by the what fibrous, little amount of the areolar and then flattened endothelial cells. But coming to the what visceral part of the peritoneum, histology is by the what more of the what that of the areolar tissue and flattened endothelial and the mesothelial cells. So these things, diagram and all you can see in the what larger histological books. Then coming to the what at last you will be going to enter into the what embryology of the what that of the peritoneum. Embryology of the peritoneum is nothing but the peritoneal itself. It is developed from the what that of the somatopleural and the what splenopleural cavity of the what splenopleural origin point which is present in between the what two lateral plate of the mesoderm. Whereas the parietal part of the peritoneum it will be going to take developed from or it is originated from in its embryological phase by the somatopleural. Whereas the visceral part of the peritoneum it is derived or it is developed from the splenopleural cavity which is a little bit lower than that of the you can say pleural cavity. So from that point which is present in between the two lateral plate of the mesoderm it will be going to take origin. So or develops. So that is the embryology. So somatopleural it is by the what parietal, somat means body cavity. Splenopleural it will be going to take origin for the what visceral part of that of the you can say peritoneum. Parietal part of the peritoneum is the developed from or embryologically it is derived from somatopleural, somat means body. Then visceral part of the peritoneum is developed from splenopleural cavity for the visceral part of the peritoneum. So this is what you have to remember. Now after having had that, you have to go to the what applied anatomy. Applied anatomy of peritoneum. If any injuries are there from outside in, perforating or you can say making a injury by the what sharp instrument or gunshot wounds from outside in, first tapping the anterolateral abdominal wall and then going to the what parietal and then into the what visceral. So that will be the what